53-man roster prediction. We do this every single year. I take my stab at the Rams roster, and I just want to put a little bit of a little precursor in here that this is probably the best I've felt about my roster prediction going into a week one. Do I think I'm 100%? Obviously not. But I do feel pretty in line with what I think will happen. The only X factor here is going to be like other players being cut or anything like that the Rams want to bring in and then drop maybe guys that I have us keeping. Okay. So that's an X factor. Aaron Donald's obviously an X factor. There is a few things that come into play, and that actually, the Aaron Donald stuff, I think that the Rams are going to either have to announce something or show their cards if he is going to return, because we're going to get into a spot. It's like, what if they cut down and we have a 52-man roster? And it's like, what's going on over here? So just something to keep your eyes on. But let's get into it here. We'll start with the quarterback position, currently holding 4 quarterbacks on roster. I'm going to say that the Rams keep 3. I feel like that's been announced. If it hasn't been announced, probably will be soon. It's going to happen. Rams are going to keep 3 quarterbacks. That is going to be Matthew Stafford, Stetson Bennett, Benatar, if you will, and Ty Simpson. That would mean leaving would be Matthew Caldwell. And I'm not sure if the Rams would want to keep Caldwell on the practice squad. I don't think that that's impossible. I just think it's also not necessarily as relevant. If you're looking for a guy in practice to be whipping some balls around, look at your first-round quarterback. Your first-round pick, Ty Simpson, I think, should be getting as many reps as we can possibly wiggle into his world, and just keep on getting better every day, dude. So 3 for the quarterback. I'm going to say that the Rams keep 3 running backs. Certainly realistic that the Rams keep more than this, but I'm going to say that the Rams keep Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, and Ronnie Rivers. That would mean that leaving the Rams would be Jarquez Hunter, Jordan Waters, and Dean Connors. I know that after the first preseason game, Dean Connors' hype swept the Rams fan base, but I will say he's definitely the 6th guy on the squad right now. And for him to break onto the roster, he's got to pass Jordan Waters, Jarquez Hunter, and probably Ronnie Rivers as well. And Williams, Corum, and Rivers, none of them played in preseason. We got comments from Sean McVay about Ronnie Rivers. Very high praise from Sean McVay for Ronnie Rivers. So makes perfect sense that he would make this roster. And I'm going to say that Hunter, Waters, those are practice squad potentials. Connors, I don't think returns to the Rams. I do think he gets rostered elsewhere. There's a lot of running back needy teams out there, and I do think he can get picked up. Moving on to the tight end room, I'm going to have the Rams keeping 5 tight ends this year. And I think that the Rams, it's reasonable for the Rams to keep this many tight ends, considering the names that you have in this room and the explosion of the 13 personnel. So obviously you want to be able to rotate guys in and out. If we're going to be 13 heavy like we were last year, you're going to want to keep these guys. And who I have staying on the roster is going to be, of course, Tyler Higbee, Big Rig Higgs, Colby Parkinson, the General Davis Allen. We'll go with Terrence Ferguson and rookie Max Clare are my picks. That would mean that Rohan Jones, Mark Redmond, and Dan Villari will be leaving the roster per my predictions. But again, with how many tight ends the Rams like to use on a regular basis, more 13 personnel than basically we've ever seen in the whole history of football last year, and by such a margin, which is crazy, and explosive out of it, which is really cool. But it makes perfect sense the Rams will keep a high number of tight ends. I'm going to go with 5. Moving on to wide receiver. This one is where I think other people may disagree with the number here, but I'm going to say that the Rams keep 6 wide receivers, leaving 11 pass catchers entirely that the Rams hold on to. My wide receivers that I have the Rams keeping is going to be Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Konate Mumpfield, Jordan Whittington, Xavier Smith, and C.J. Daniels. That would mean that Alex Bachman, Tyler Scott, True Edwards, and Brennan Presley all would be hitting the road. I do think at least 1 or 2 of these guys, at least 1 or 2 doesn't make a lot of sense to say. I'll say at least 2 of these guys make the practice squad. I do think it's reasonable that they would stick around. Presley, I think, is faster than I anticipated watching him play. Bachman, he's back around to us. He was here, was that 2019? It's been a bit, I think, a couple of years, but and then obviously Tyler Scott had that crazy fourth down reception from Stetson Bennett, True Edwards. These are just guys that I just don't think have, they're not bad players by any means, but to make it onto the roster, you got to do something real special, man, because this squad's absolutely loaded. So I'm going to say that those guys get cut. The Rams keep 6 wide receivers. On the offensive line, you would imagine that about 10 makes a lot of sense, but the Rams use a lot of versatility on the offensive line. I'm going to say that they keep 9 offensive linemen this year, and it's just to keep strong depth there. And I'm going to say that's A.J. Jackson, Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Kevin Dotson, Warren McClendon are going to be your starters, and behind them on the bench, I'm going to go with Keegan Trost, Bo Limmer, David Quessenberry, and Justin Dedich. We got Trost, who can play guard and tackle, Limmer, who can play center and guard, Quessenberry, who can play either tackle spot, could probably wiggle into guard if we needed him to, and Justin Dedich, who I actually think could play anywhere on the offensive line. So very versatile guy there, coming back onto the roster after dealing with a little bit of something, but he's good to go. That would mean leaving the roster would be A.J. Arcuri, Austin Blasky, Wyatt Bowles, Bryce Henderson, Blake Hance, Bill Murray, and Dylan McMahon. Obviously, we've heard positive comments from guys like Sean McVay on gentlemen such as Dylan McMahon. This is just a room that I think with Keegan Trost, Bo Limmer, Quessenberry, Justin Dedich, I just think that those guys are the backups right now. I think it's hard for somebody to break into that. Arcuri, Bowles, probably McMahon. These are all practice squad eligibles, I would assume, unless they can get picked up by a different squad. So that is your offense. Flipping over to the other side here, defensive line. I'm going to go ahead and say the Rams keep 6 on the defensive line. I've got Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, Braden Fisk, Tyler Davis, Ty Hamilton, and Tim Keenan III, the rookie at that last spot there. That would mean Laurel Murchison, Jackson Moy, Bill Norton, and Peyton Zadroik would be leaving the roster. Laurel Murchison, obviously, he's been around this team. He's been on and off this roster for a while. But I think Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, Braden, Tyler, Ty, and Tim, I think that's a totally reasonable circulation around this position. If we get Aaron Donald back, I would actually imagine that it would be Ty Hamilton that would be on the bad end of that to get Aaron Donald back into the rotation. But Tim Keenan could absolutely be in there. Tyler Davis could be in that. I hope not. I like Tyler Davis. He also hasn't been playing preseason, which is a good sign for Tyler Davis. So hopefully he gets in there rotationally. Dude, his get off is absolutely phenomenal. I've been pounding the table on this for so many years, I think. I feel like ever since he was drafted, it's like, dude, this guy gets off a freaking snap, man. This is awesome. And it's good to see that. I feel like the team is starting to appreciate what he brings to the table. But I'm a big Tyler Davis guy. On the edge, I'm going to say that the Rams are keeping 5 edge rushers here, man. Now I'm going to say that's Myles Garrett, Byron Young. We know those guys are sticking around. Des Johnson, Josiah Stewart. And I'm going to give it to Wesley Bailey. I know, man. A rookie coming in. He's 25 years old, though, so he's not like a child, coming in as a rookie. Dude's got a friggin' motor on him, man. If you watched him in the second preseason game against the Saints, dude was just all over the place. Had 10 pressures, had that sack, had a forced fumble. All over the place, man. He's absolutely phenomenal. Gotta love the kid's story. And I do think he can make this squad. I think that he's shown enough to be able to make this squad. And then Des Johnson, Josiah Stewart. Josiah Stewart hasn't been playing in preseason, so we feel pretty good about him sticking around. Des Johnson is an absolute monster. Des and Wes in the preseason is like playing Myles Garrett and Byron Young in the regular season, dude. That's for backups. Man, that's tough, dude. These guys are killers. I feel like Wes Bailey and Des Johnson could be starters on some teams. But we've got Myles Garrett and Byron Young, so it's like tough cookies, man. You just gotta get in there on the rotation. But that would mean that I've got Daryl Peterson III, Tamon Fox, and Devion Deal. I think that one might be Dia. I didn't see the pronunciation of that, but I'm gonna say that those guys are getting booted from the roster, not making the final 53. Those edge rushers, though, absolutely phenomenal. If we can get some good rotation in with them, keep everybody fresh for all the entire season, obviously good things gonna happen. Inside linebackers, I'm gonna say the Rams keep 4 here. I know we run a lot of nickel on the defensive side, and obviously with that, you keep more safety, more secondary guys in there. I'm gonna say the Rams keep 4 here because of special teams. That's going to be Nate Landman, Omar Spates. Those are your starters. And I'm going to say that we're keeping around Sean Dolak. And then, of course, the special teams ace, Grant Stewart, man. I'm sad that you cut your hair, but I'm excited that you're a Ram. Happy to have you here. And I think that Grant's a totally reasonable person to kind of get in on defense as well as needed. We'll kind of see how that disbursement happens, but he was obviously kind of brought in to be a special teams ace. So we'll, of course, see him a lot there. Inside linebackers that would be leaving, that would include Monty Rice, a new addition, Eli Neal, and Nakai Hill-Green that would be off the roster. I do imagine that Hill-Green could be a practice squad guy. Eli Neal as well. I know that the coaches like him, so we'll see if these guys are able to stick around. When we hit the secondary here, we go to the corner room. I'm going to say the Rams keep 5 corners. That's going to be Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., Josh Wallace, and Cam Lampkin. Those are my picks, and I'm going to say that off the roster would be Alex Johnson, Stephen Gilmore, Nazir Forkurian, and Alzillian Hamilton off of the roster. But I think that this secondary would be pretty solid, especially those top 3 there. You got Duffman along with Jay Watt and Forbes. So obviously that's a solid trio, man. Forbes, I mean, I understand opinions. You're allowed to have your opinions about a guy like Emmanuel Forbes. He had quite the season last year, had some really, really killer plays, had some where you kind of wish he was in a better spot, but he's got experience now. He's a first-round pick. I think that's where a lot of pressure comes onto him. But first-round pick, he's finally made his way over to the Rams. We picked up his option, and so he'll be around at least for next year as well, unless, of course, we just or like get out of here. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But either way, to have him go from a 1 last year to a 3 this year, I think that's just good stuff, man. That's just good business. That's like, I feel like if you were at your job and, you've been there for X amount of years, however long you've been at your job, my current job, I've been there for like 3 years now or something like that. I feel like if I was in there right now doing like I'm CB1, you know what I mean? Doing all the things that I need to do. If somebody all of a sudden came in and was like, hey man, we're actually going to give you all the stuff that we give to guys that are just 1 month in, that cool? I would be crushing, dude. So I think that's totally reasonable. It's like if you're another example would be like a truck driver or something like that. You're in you're an the actual big rig, not these automatic ones that they've got coming out now, but like an actual big rig, like, all these crazy gears, 20 plus or whatever the heck it is. And then you go back and you just get in your Ford Ranger. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can do that. You might struggle with some aspects of it. This corner you got to take or whatever like that. Get into that Ranger, freaking whipping that bad boy around, man. So I think that's kind of the situation for a guy like Emmanuel Forbes Jr., where it's like, hey, instead of covering, JSN and stuff like that, it's like, hey, now you're on Torrey Horton when we play the Seahawks instead of JSN. Now you're on Cup in the slot instead of JSN. That's maybe a bad example because those guys are also very good players. So, but you get my point though, is like now you're not on Devontae Adams anymore. Now you're on Jordan Whittington. So you should be able to perform better. And I think that's where Emmanuel Forbes is at going into this year. Moving on to the safety spot, staying in the secondary. I'm saying the Rams keep 4 players at the safety spot. That's going to be Quentin Lake, Captain Q, Cam Curl, Cam Kinchins, and Jalen McCullough. Tank, undrafted guy that just blasted Jalen Hurts last year. It's one of my favorite plays of the whole season. Absolutely loved it. It brings me so much joy. I watch that play every once in a while, having a bad day, just watch Jalen McCullough just destroy Hurts. So good, man. It's so good. The look in the eye he had after that hit was like, oh, he's going to kill someone today. And I'm for it, man. But I think that those 4 safeties, the Cams, Q, and Jalen, I think those guys sticking around makes perfect sense. That would mean Tanner Ingle, Nate Valcarcel, Nick Anderson, and Alex Cook not making the squad. I know everybody's real high on Alex Cook right now. Had the 100-yard return interception against the Saints. definitely sick as hell. Love to see that kind of stuff. I'm just not sure he's got enough juice to surpass any of these other guys to make the squad. Nick Anderson has had a really good preseason. Tanner Ingle's been a little bit up and down. I feel like normally the last few years in preseason, we've seen him just be an absolute missile in preseason and just destroy souls out there. But we haven't really seen that this year. I'm going to say that Tanner Ingle is a practice squad kind of guy. And for your special teams, just the three here, because your returner is going to be Xavier Smith. I think at kick returner, watch for Ronnie Rivers on kick return. I think that's a spot that they'll utilize him in. I know that Sean McVay had a lot of really good things to say about Ronnie Rivers, but I do think that overall kick returner is where we're going to see him the most. And then, of course, we got Xavier Smith as our punt returner, which is the correct call. I'll tell you that much. But your three special teams guy, we're going to go with Harrison Mevis, Ethan Evans, and Joe Cardona. That would mean gone out of this range would be punter Jack Bowmeister, who I also found out, by the way, we brought him on, and then he's on the commissioner's exempt list. I don't know why. I didn't really look into it. Sue me, man. It's fine. We have Ethan Evans. Jack Bowmeister's not going to make this roster, so I think it's going to be okay. We just have him for one more preseason game, and then we can just move on with the strongest player in the NFL, Ethan Evans, booting balls again. So that is your roster there. I think that if I've got any additional notes here, it's just that if the Rams keep another running back, it's going to be Jarquez Hunter. I'm just not sure where they pull that spot from elsewhere. Is that going to be Wes Bailey? Is it going to be Ty Hamilton? Is it going to be Justin Dedich? Is it going to be CJ Daniels? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to pull that spot from somewhere else. So I'm just not sure if Jarquez has enough to make this roster this year, which is a good thing. And I understand that we all want all of the best players always, but it's a good thing that we're cutting good players. That means we're a damn good football team. We have guys that we're going to cut that couldn't even make our 53 that are going to go play for somebody else. Actively play for somebody else. That is a thing that we'll see as far as the Rams go on our roster. This is better than what we used to do, which was keep guys because we needed bodies in those positions. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like 08, 09 Rams. It was like, dude, we just need people. So you're a football player? Yeah, dude, get in here. Like, you're good. We would cut people and they would never play football again. Now we're in a situation where we're cutting guys when it's like, dang, really wish we didn't have to cut this guy. He's really, really good at football. So that's a good thing. If you want to do your math at home, that's 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 5 tight ends, 6 wide receivers, 9 offensive linemen, 6 defensive linemen, 5 edge rushers, 4 inside linebackers, 5 corners, 4 safeties, and your 3 special teams guys with just your snapper, punter, and your kicker. Do the math at home. Feel free to correct me. Maybe I'm way off. It's like, I just have this fear that I'm going to do a 53-man roster prediction and people are going to comment and it's like, yeah, that's 74 guys. Like, damn it. Not even close, dude. So, but also it wouldn't blow my mind to see the Rams go 5 wideouts. I'm just really, really not sure who would not make it. I really want to see CJ Daniels make it. I don't think it's impossible that they try to stash him on practice squad. I'll say that. I really want to see him make it. I don't think it's impossible that he doesn't, though. And then that could be your Jarquez Hunter. Or, you know, if the Rams want to pull from somewhere else, maybe they want to keep around, another offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. Or maybe maybe you do keep all the defensive linemen that I said, and that's your Aaron Donald spot, you know. It would suck immediately, but that guy, whoever happens to get cut for letting Aaron Donald back onto the roster, it's going to suck in that moment. But then in like 20 years, he's going to be telling that story. He's going to be like, I was actually the one, dude. I got cut for Aaron Donald. What am I supposed to say, dude? It's Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? That's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. Yeah, that's your roster prediction there. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. What would you change? Am I way off? Am I totally nailing it here? Just for a heads up, I'm going to give it, I'll say too, that I'm going to say Stetson Bennett is QB2 behind Matthew Stafford for most, if not all, the season. I feel pretty confident saying it's going to be the whole season, though.